All right. Shazam is now in theaters for your viewing pleasure. Please go check out the film. It's freaking fantastic. I loved it. So what is this video? Right now, we have 7 films in the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rate these films in order, in my opinion, from worst to first. And I'm very excited about this. I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time, especially with Shazam now in theaters. So I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get into it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Just My Opinion. I really do appreciate it. I'm really excited about getting this ranking out. Now, guys, this is just my opinion on these things, okay? You may like a film that I don't, and vice versa. You may have it ranked a certain way. This is how I wanted to rank it with my subjective and objective approach. Subjective is this: you really just don't care how much entertainment you had, how much fun you had. Objective is when you try to be measurable, you know, something that you can measure, something that's quantifiable. I'm going to try to include all of that in this rating. Now, the ranking is going to be the best, more of an objective approach. But at the end, I am going to say what my favorite DCEU film is, because what I consider my favorite and the best is completely different. So, and it can be the same, but in this case, it's not. So, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's go ahead and get into it. Coming in at number 7, coming in last place, I really just did not enjoy this film. It was a big disappointment. You probably already know what it is, and that is Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, yes, directed by Mr. David Ayer. Came out in 2016 with Jared Leto, Margot Robbie, Will Smith, a bunch of other people. Unfortunately, guys, I just did not enjoy this film. I thought it was freaking atrocious. It has a great director, like I said, with David Ayer, who did End of Watch. He also did Bright, Fury, Sabotage, Street Kings. He's a great director, but things that just did not come together in this film, unfortunately. I think it's the worst. I'm not holding it up right now because I just did not like the film. I did not want to buy it. But why is this film so bad to me? Well, first of all, I do remember seeing it. And first of all, it was the tone of the film. I felt that it was us all over the place. At points in times, you tried to be serious, and then you tried to throw in a bunch of pop culture songs and references that didn't have anything to do with anything. In my opinion, it just did not flow well. You got Eminem in there. Yeah, he's back again, and rockets in the sky, and it just things like that. I really don't understand. You know, Harley Quinn is not a comic book character. Her character life was brought to her character in an animated cartoon. And I enjoy her character for the most part in the animated cartoon and also in the DC animated movies. But given the threat that was presented in this movie, Suicide Squad, I do not see a logical, practical sense to why you would have somebody in short shorts that's cute, that's sexy to a lot of people, just going around and swinging the bat. That doesn't make sense to me at all. I also remember at the very beginning of this film, they had like a roll call. And they had Deadshot explaining his backstory and things like that. And it was cool. I liked it at the very beginning. But it became long and drawn out. And I'm just like, okay, man, this is just like an exposition dump. You know, like, you can show me, don't tell me. It's just not a good scene. And then like a few moments later, they did the same thing over and over and over. The same thing repeated over again. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Now, the worst part in this film, I'm not going to give a whole review, but one of the worst parts in this film to me was the ending. Like, when it comes to films like this, when people have abilities, when they're enhanced and they have powers, it's great to me when I can see consistency in those powers, or everyone giving their all, giving 100% to obtain their goal. I felt the Diablo character did not use his fire powers enough. Like, when the chance presented itself, I'm like, dude, if you're trying to get out of here, if you're trying to escape alive or win the day, win the mission, why are you not blowing everybody away with your firepower? And then, we have Enchantress. I forgot about this movie. I forgot who plays the role of Enchantress. I mean, y'all remember this when she was doing this in the movie. I mean, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. I also remember the stupid movie Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan. Remember when Dr. Doom was in that movie before he went to the other dimension? He was looking at people and their heads was exploding. very violent, nothing wrong with that in this type of movie, but it's a badass power. But when he goes to the other dimension, he's fighting people with fisticuffs. That's what the Enchantress was doing in this film as well. Like at one point, she was displaying her powers, throwing literally lightning bolts all across the planet, destroying all kind of stuff, making all types of chaos and mayhem. But then again, 2 seconds later, she's, throwing fisticuffs with the Suicide Squad, and that just did not make sense to me. This film was just unbalanced in all senses, on all fronts, and it just was not a good film, and that's why it is coming in at last place, number 7 in the DCEU. Coming in at number 6 is another film that I was just anticipating beyond belief, and it disappointed so many people, including myself, guys, and that is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, right now I have in my hand the Ultimate Edition that was 3 hours long, and I will admit that the 3-hour version was much, much better than the 2.5-hour version, because it explained a lot more. For example, I remember in the theater, I'm just like, how in the hell can y'all blame Superman on killing these people? What was it? One of the countries in Africa, I forgot exactly what country it was. The human beings that died had bullet holes in them. They died from gunfire. So what you're telling me is that Superman is going around with an assault rifle shooting people? It didn't make any sense. Now, in the extended version, they explained it more. It made more sense, but at the same time, I cannot give this film a pass. I think I gave it like a C- or C+ or something like that, because Superman has super hearing. He can hear from here all the way across, all the way over there. He can hear a whole bunch. So you remember the scene where Batman is driving down the street or flying in his Batmobile or Batwing, and he's just killing everybody with the machine guns on his vehicle or whatever. Well, first of all, I didn't really like that Batman was just being that carnage or whatever, but that's not my main point. But after Batman is mowing everyone down with all these bullets, he goes around the corner and Superman is right there in his face and rips the top of the Batmobile in half, and then Batman stands up like, I ain't afraid of you, punk. What's up? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense to me. If Superman is right there waiting around the corner, I know you heard Batman shooting everybody down. Did you not want to go over there and stop him and be like, whoa, we have a better way of doing this? I mean, everybody is not the character that, Batman is killing people left and right. It wasn't absolutely necessary. And then you're letting Batman just, like, you was right there. You could have stopped it. I mean, there were just so many inconsistencies like that. And then we all know the Martha thing and stuff like that. It was atrocious, but they were not communicating before that battle. Like, I don't know why Superman was not screaming at Bruce, this is not my fault. I am not responsible. Let's talk this out. We're getting played by Lex Luthor. And so I don't want to give a full review for this film, but I was highly disappointed, and that is why Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice comes in at number 6 in the DCEU. Now, pretty much right after this, guys, the 5 that we have left, including Shazam, that's in theaters right now, I enjoy all of these films. I did. I enjoyed all of these films. I don't want to say thoroughly all of them, but I really did enjoy them, but I did enjoy some more than others. So that brings us to number 5. And coming in at number 5, from worst to first in the DCU, according to my opinion, is Justice League. I have it right here on 4K. Now, Kevin Tushihara, and I really don't feel like I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's no longer the CEO of Warner Brothers right now. Walter Hamada is in there, and he had a mandate that this film had to be no more than 2 hours. So I think it came in at like 1 hour and 59 minutes, and you can kind of tell that it was patchy, and that we had Josh Whedon directing this thing, and also Zack Snyder. I would like to see the Snyder cut or just a longer version with both of their filmmaking coming together, because there were just certain scenes where you could tell that this was a Zack Snyder scene. You can tell that there were some scenes that this was not a Justice League, but a Josh Whedon scene. Also, the villain Steppenwolf, the CGI in that film was not good as far as his face is concerned, but I did enjoy the film. It's still at the same time. There's really, I really can't complain other than that. Other than I also really didn't like the way that the Amazons were dressed in this film. If you see Wonder Woman, they were, of course, I'm a man. I like sexy women, and there's women out there that like sexy women too. You know what I'm saying? But you can tell that Zack Snyder, he was like, yeah, I want to have this more sexy and, risque and all this good stuff. So the Amazons were just more revealing and I don't know, it was just kind of cheap to me. I don't know. I really wasn't feeling that. But it was a decent film. I wanted more, but I didn't get more. I kind of got mediocre, but that is why Justice League is coming in at number 5, in the DCEU. All right, now we got to the top 4, the remaining 4. And guys, this is really, really difficult for me. I thought about this a long time, and my objective and subjective juices, were flowing back and forth. But let's go ahead and get into it. Coming in at number 4, it made a lot of money at the box office. I have it right here on 4K as well. And I'll save that part for a little bit later towards the end of the video. But number 4, we have Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa. Now, this film right here is mixed. It has the audiences split down the middle, has critics split down the middle, but I really did enjoy this film. I thought that Jason Momoa did a freaking fantastic job in this film. This comic book movie right here, Aquaman, it honestly does. It is one of the better ones as far as action and choreography is concerned. I felt the costumes in this movie was stellar. Some of the best costume designs I've ever seen. I thought the sound mixing and editing was freaking great. The IMAX in this film was fantastic too. The story was great as well. It was a simple story, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It was the script that I had problems with. It's being directed by Mr. James Wan. Of course, we have Patrick Wilson coming through as the villain, as Aquaman's half brother, as King Orm, as Ocean Master, and he was really convinced in this film. It's like, Patrick Wilson, it seemed like he was taking the role more seriously than everybody else, which is a great thing, but it's also a curse on the film too, because your acting is not matching with everyone else. I mean, he did such a great job, but at the same time, you're doing scenes with Dolph Lundgren, who did fine, but I mean, come on, who is the better actor? You know what I'm saying? So, it was just kind of off-putting that way. But just going back to like King Orm, like he was just like really committed, you know what I'm saying? Just like, today we are not our kingdoms. Tomorrow we scorch the surface. Like I'm in the movie like geeking out, when he's doing that. I'm loving it. And I really do love it when a character just gives it all. They throw everything in there. They leave everything on the cutting room floor. And they just don't give a crap. You can tell that Patrick Wilson and James Wan had a deep relationship. They worked with each other on the Conjuring films. And Patrick Wilson's like, look, dude, I respect you, Mr. James Wan. I'm going to give you everything that I got. But the reason why this is coming in at number 4, while it has so many great things, which I listed, because there's a lot of great things in this film. It still had problems too with the script. Like Mira, for example. I think she was a great character. And she looked great on screen. I love the costumes. I loved her powers and things like that. But some of her dialogue was just a little off sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't match with everything else. And I was just kind of confused. I also got really tired of all the, dialogue and the conversations getting interrupted by some type of gunplay, or an explosion or something like that. Sometimes the song choices in the movie were very jarring. Like when they were in the desert, like it was just some goofy, music, boom, boom, like some Oompa Loompas from the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. When Black Manta, played by Abdul Mahim II, when he got his Atlantean tech, they did a montage of him putting together. I remember that music and that song choice. I was like, what the hell is going on here? The octopus playing, right before the battle. That was crazy. At the end of this movie, when they're in the middle of the battle and him and Mira want to start making out in the middle of the battle. Yeah, it looked great. 360 degrees camera spinning around with a water fireworks going on in the background with rainbow colors. It looked amazing, but I'm just saying to myself, that's stupid as hell. What are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? But other than that, from the time that they were going after the trench to the end of the movie, it was perfect, except for that part. They were just, towards the beginning of the film, when Black Manta and his father were taking over the pirate ship, they stopped in the middle of the piracy to be like, yes, this is, my father's knife, and this now is your knife. It's a great scene and it's necessary, but it was just put in the wrong place. When Aquaman came through and introduced himself, it was badass, but it was goofy at the same time. This film had a lot of great things in it. And this film does a lot of things better than any other DCEU film, in my opinion. But at the same time, it had all those errors, plus a little bit more that I just listed. So that's why I can't necessarily say it's the best, and that these three remaining films are superior as far as quality is concerned, in my opinion. So Aquaman coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3. Oh, this is hard. But I'm going to go ahead and stick to it. It is a film that started the whole DCU, and that is Man of Steel with Mr. Henry Cavill, of course, directed by Zack Snyder. This was in my top 10 comic book films of all time for the longest time. And then I think like Civil War came out and knocked it out. I love this film. It was freaking great. The only thing I really didn't like about it was it still does not make sense to me how Lois and Superman met in that ice cave where the Fortress of Solitude or whatever. I just still don't understand that. But this is the story itself. Kevin Costner in this movie, you know, everybody involved. General Zod, one of the best villains of all time, in my opinion. He couldn't help it. He was programmed to do that. So, you know, villains are the great villain is always the villains that don't think that they're the bad guy, right? You know, he technically wasn't. He was programmed to protect Krypton. The very beginning of the film, when they showed Krypton, that was lovely. It was absolutely perfect. That was a 10 out of a 10 sequence. That's kind of like how I wish the Green Lantern that came out in 2010, how that would have turned out, how they're just trying to introduce that world. It was great. The fighting choreography was freaking fantastic. Even when they was fighting in Smallville at the IHOP and all that in the middle of the street, I was satisfied then with the action. But then we got all this stuff at the end with the ships and then the other Kryptonians and then the one-on-one battle with Zod. Like, oh my gosh. That is still just some of the best ever. Just freaking badassery all around. A lot of people may not care for Man of Steel or make crap on it, but I still want to give Zack Snyder a chance. I love this film right here. It's freaking fantastic, and that is why Man of Steel, and I got it in 3D, is coming in at number 3 in the DCEU. All right, guys, we only have 2 left. We got Wonder Woman and we have Shazam. We have Shazam and we have Wonder Woman. Which one is coming in at number 1? Which one is coming in at number 2? And this is tough. This is tough. But I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Coming in at number 2 is in theaters right now, and that is Shazam, baby. Yes, that is Shazam. Now, this is not the real Shazam movie because it's in theaters right now. It's not on Blu-ray, DVD, or 4K. This is the Superman versus Shazam, the Return of Black Adam. This is how I was actually introduced to Shazam. I think this came out like 2010 or 2009. It's actually 4 short films: Jonah Hex, Green Arrow, Spectre, and Shazam. But Shazam is the Shazam one is the best part. I'm just holding it up just for so you can have something to look at. But Shazam is one of the best in the DCEU. You can go check out my spoiler review and non-spoiler review for it. But this just was a ton of fun. I love the powers. I love the dark elements. Zachary Levi is great. Freddie Freeman is Jack Dylan Grazer is great. What is the other guy's name? I want to give him credit. John Mahansu was great in this film. What is it? Asher Angel. I always forget his name. Asher Angel and Jack Dylan Grazer. They're funny in this film. The whole freaking thing is funny as hell. I loved it. The only reason why this is coming in number 2 instead of number 1 is I've seen the film twice now, and there is just really no true epicness to it as far as just badass somebody getting their ass kicked. That's my personal favorite right there. And I felt that number 1 came in superior as far as that's concerned. With story development, plot points, character development, effects, all that good stuff. Those and Shazam, the real movie, not just this 2019 version that we're talking about. There was also some issues with the CGI that I noticed more the second time. Still a great film. Shazam is still one of the best in the DCEU, but it only comes in at number 2. But guys, that leads us to the finale right now. You already know what it is. Wonder Woman coming in at number 1. Got it right there on 4K. I love pretty much everything about this film. Only thing I did not like about this film that was everything else I thought was perfect was the villain towards the end. I remember saying this in my review a few years ago, But the guy, I forgot his name too, the villain, like the comic book name villain. But to me, he looked like Pee Wee Herman, and Pee Wee Herman with a fake mustache in armor. He just did not seem threatening. Now, he had the power and the fighting and all that was there, but just the person under the armor, it just was not, it just wasn't doing it for me. I love the fish out of water story element, especially with Chris Pine. I remember in the theater laughing my ass off, even when I'm at home and watching this, when they was in the boat. She's like, I mean, you don't want to sleep with me? You can sleep with me. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. Do you realize what you're saying? I would sleep the hell out of your ass. You know what I'm saying? You fine as hell. You know, but he's trying to be respectful. It was funny, you know, and he trying to communicate and they're trying to converse and things like that. And she's like, oh yeah, the pleasures of the sex. And he's like, okay, yeah, she's not this complete moron, you know, but I love the character. She was like, man, what do you mean? How can you not do anything? We got to help these people. She coming through in the middle of the battlefield holding the shit. I'm just like, yo, woman empowerment, go. It was badass. She going around with the lasso troop whooping ass, you know what I'm saying, in World War I. Was it World War I or World War II? I think it was World War I. I can't remember, but it was great. I love everything with the Amazons. I love when they was fighting the Germans on the beach at Themyscira. I love the training. I love the soundtrack. Patty Jenkins knocked this out the park, man. It was a great movie. And guys, that is why it is my number one choice in the DCEU. Freaking fantastic movie. And I cannot wait for Wonder Woman 1984. With all the news coming out, I'm kind of confused how Chris Pine is coming back. And they're saying it's not necessarily a sequel, all that good stuff. But while this is number one, it's not my favorite in the DCU. My favorite in DCU, this is my subjective opinion, throwing everything out the way, is Aquaman. I love this film, guys. Even with all these errors, it came out on Blu-ray 4K, I think on March 26th. I think I watched it all the way through at home twice. And then the ending battle scene where he goes and gets the armor coming through like a boss, throwing the trident down. I didn't think I watched that scene from that point to the end like 6-7 times. You know what I'm saying? Because this is that badass. I'm blessed. I have a very nice TV, a very decent size 4K TV, surround sound, and then seeing the IMAX ratio at home. Like, I have a setting on my TV strictly for 4K IMAX scenes, and I don't even watch my Blu-ray on it because it looks retarded. But it looks freaking amazing, y'all. Like, I cut off all the lights, cut the surround sound up to 65. I got it set. I have it set. It's mesmerizing and it's beautiful. It is amazing. I just eat it up all the time. It's my favorite. And these fight scenes in there, it's just badass. Now I have a lantern steel. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving it. You know what I'm saying? So Aquaman is coming in. At number, it's my favorite or whatever. So coming in, guys, at number 7. It's Suicide Squad. We're doing a little recap. Number 7 is Suicide Squad. Number 6 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Number 5 is Justice League. We got that right there. Number 4 is Aquaman. Number 3 is Man of Steel. Number 2 is Shazam, and coming in at number 1 of the best in the DCEU is Wonder Woman. But guys, that is just my opinion. What did you think about my list? What did you think about these movies? Please let me know. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Did I turn you on? Did I turn you off? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation going and keep it flowing. If you like this video, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. If you don't, that's fine. But you can still subscribe to my channel. Yes, help me please reach 10,000 subscribers. I really would appreciate it. My first big milestone. Guys, you can also look me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all the good stuff. It's right there at the bottom of the screen, and I made it very easy by providing a link to all that down in the description box below. But guys, I just want to thank you again for tuning into my opinion / review / reaction / my ranking of the DCEU films ranked from worst to first. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.